if Beast Coast can make a 2-round comeback, I have to say, this would be a rapid ascent for a very new team if Beast Coast can make that comeback.
It certainly would. And I mean, it didn't look all that bad on Theme Park, but you are starting the difficult side of the attack. Oregon, as Cookie said, he said it was a dumbed down, I would say it's a linear map, a simplified map at that. But yeah, it is a lot more straightforward. And honestly, the Arbiter bans might show that same pattern where you just remove the key operators that will allow you to get opening kills or a small, way into these rounds. Lion is one of those. Nuke is one of those. For defenders, information or Asami being removed again by DarkZero. Beast Coast, they targeted Solus on Theme Park. They might look to punish Canadian once again and try and take one of his operators away from him.
I mean, they've already tried to punish Pambazoo with that Nook ban immediately as you move on to Oregon, after having a show-stopping play by Pambazoo on Nook to round out Theme Park and get that win for DarkZero. And they'll look to punish Canadian again, 2 times now in this series. Beast Coast have opted for the Solus ban, and while they start on the defense, when they go to the attack, or as DarkZero start on the attack, those cut-off drones will be a little bit safer now that you do not have Solus on the board.
So, while we just kind of get into things, Lynx, I am curious, what is your favorite map to watch in Rainbow Six Siege?
It's actually easy, it's Chalet.
Okay, why is it Chalet?
My favorite map is Chalet because...
Even,
well, not. I like to think. I like to think without speed.
I thought you were very passionate about the map. That's why I thought you were gonna like jump at it.
Well, the reason Chalet is my favorite map is because it has a good combination of everything. Okay. It's not as linear like Oregon, but it's not as expansive or convoluted as a map like Theme can be. It also combines a good level of just fragging and exciting play, with it being a little bit of a smaller map and being a little bit more restricted. I feel like it's a map that really combines a lot of the best parts of Rainbow Six without having a lot of the downsides.
Okay. Where does Oregon rank from a 1 to 10 scale?
Not by Chalet, I'll tell you that much.
Okay, I expected that result, to be fair. Now, Oregon is a map that people either love it or hate it because it is a more simplified version of the game, some would argue. Basement bomb site plays out in for almost every single team in professional play, 90% overlap in terms of operators, where utility goes, where you're playing on the map, etc. We can see right now, Beast Coast, they're opting for the mirror strat. Put them downstairs, a soft roam on the external staircases leading to the bomb side. And DC, and there's Pambazoo and the rest of DC rather, making a quick work on the entry here because with pre-placed drones in certain positions in that first drone phase of the game, you can just tell there are no roamers. It's clear, but actually, it's not.
Wow. Not only is there a roamer, there's a very much present Malusi on that first floor, who's taken down both the primary and secondary entries on DarkZero. Hat just manages to escape the purview of Achieved outside the green door. And Beast Code, DarkZero clearly had cutoff drones. We saw one in that common spot by the drone hole in Showers Hall. And despite that, despite the diligent droning, Beast Coast come away with 2 kills.
Yep. And this is, again, we gotta look at this round and be like, is this round just over from this? It's possible, actually, because now DC gotta redrone every single inch of the map. They have the Monty, which means they're effectively fighting with only 2 guns on the board because Monty on this basement attack is most likely gonna be extended 24/7 because there are so many angles you can be shot from. So DarkZero, they have a difficult round in front of them, and Beast Coast's discipline is going to be tested because this is going to be a slow and quote-unquote boring round for the defenders. And when that starts happening, we might see some of the younger players like Hat and Dog start swinging out, get a little bit impatient, and expose themselves to a possible death to DarkZero, and that is how they can find a way back into this, despite being down 3 versus 5.
And it will have to be that way, especially with the loss of those frag grenades on Gavini. And DarkZero's other main source being the Nook in a lot of these games being banned out, and Gavini off the board. Will have to likely be these gunfights, maybe aided by some of the smoke grenades from Achieved to block off some lines of sight. NJR certainly not afraid at the moment with Canadian behind him, now in front of him. Spotted vertical. They know he's here. Not a lot Vert can do to counter this Monty at the moment, but he might be able to dome NJR just a little ways away. Toxic Babes going out, a 3rd kill now for Beast Coast. NJR inside a freezer, now dead, cold on the floor. Achieved alone, bottom laundry will throw out a smoke with both him and Canadian. Now worse for wear, and separated by quite a distance on 2 separate points of entry on basement. A mirror window looking at Achieved, and Canadian not even with a gun up watches Achieve die and is helpless to stop it. He'll finally take out his pistol, but it's a flawless for Beast Coast to start out. An exciting early round combined with a disciplined late gives them their first.
And here's the thing, Theme Park is a very different map to that of Oregon.
It's basement defense. We don't gotta start celebrating yet.
It's a basement defense, sure, but just in terms of like, because it's a simple map, it takes so much less to find success in these rounds. I feel like playing the Monty in Oregon as well, sure, for basement, it kind of makes sense. There are so many angles to worry about it, how to get into the building, into the bomb site itself, rather. But for the other bomb sites, I'm actually curious to see how Canadian, if he chooses to stick with this operator, how he's going to approach it. Monty's pick rate on Oregon is actually not very high. The most recent successful way of using it we saw was G2 at the 6 Invitationals. They were playing Monty, always going for a freezer take, kind of like DC tried to do, except they only had 3 members alive. But for the upstairs attack of Kid Storms, not really a familiar operator that we see.
Yeah, I'm looking at this site, and I'm thinking of all the ways, at least without a Monty, you think about attacking kids' dorms. You know, one big example we've seen gain in popularity. Well, you know, either way,
still,
point being,
please.
I mean, this is still applicable. One way that we've seen gain popularity the past year and a half is that big window white take. You know, you get someone, maybe hop in that big window or rush up white stairs very quickly. But try to get a plant down from that part of the map and try to do it very quickly before the defense can react. Also holding some angles after the defender has already jumped in. Of course, we don't have a Monty anymore, but we do only have the Hibana as the only source of hard breaching for the attack at the moment. So maybe going for that master bedroom take, then rotating to attic is not something really possible or easy for DarkZero anymore because of that limited hard breaching.
Also, very rude, Mr. B shot Doc through the wall at the end of the prep phase, so he took a little bit of damage. Not very nice.
He looked so happy at the end of the last round. What happened?
Yeah, he got angry.
Doc?
He wanted more. So these Retero drones are doing so much damage. The portable camera is gone, the portable shield is gone as well. That's 2 for 2 in terms of raw value. And that's gonna basically peel off the entire trophy setup from Beast Coast. It was hyper playing there. He's now peeled back off into a more stable and safe position. While Heck is aggressive inside a big tower in tier 3. The thing is, no one is within striking distance from DarkZero. They're all playing very far back inside of Armory, inside of Master Bedroom. And this wall inside of Master Closet is going to get open up really quickly as there is no wall deny from the defending side.
Nobody impact tricking either. For Terra Drone getting that very powerful shield. Trophy will be a little bit easier to contest now for the attack. Now you don't have a forward position held by the defense, which they could pre-fire you, get an angle on you from that spot. Both attic walls also reinforced, so no immediate pathway for a frag grenade for Gavini. He could still throw one, maybe land it on concrete, counter any Beast Coast defender if they get aggressive. But on the flip side, Beast Coast now can't really contest that trophy spot anymore, so firmly in the hands of the attack, as DarkZero are still very limited over by Master Bedroom.
Yeah, no, the hat doesn't have... Oh, they're just from the bomb side.
Never mind. All right, I guess they're in. Mr. B will cut down one, and Beast Coast will cut down them all. Hamazu will finally tag on for one, but it's a very quick and sudden collapse for DarkZero, as it's not a flawless Nick, but it's pretty much a flawless.
It's certainly close, and I mean, this is the thing. When you go for what's called like an off-pace play, which is when you do something in the order that doesn't normally happen, you might catch your opponent unprepared for it, but Beast Coast, they seemed more than ready. The second DarkZero they struck, they were just answered back with 3 quick kills in rapid succession, and the rush was immediately shut down. And again, it's Oregon. It is going to be a little bit hectic because teams, they want to try and catch the opponents by surprise, but there are so few ways to actually surprise your enemy in this case. And I'm surprised to see that we haven't seen a Ying yet. As I say that, Kenny will go on to the operator, because that is the most common attacker to play on all bombs of Oregon. All the bomb set rooms like we see are relatively large with not that many areas to hide and cover. That means a single Ying Candela in the middle of a site can basically blind any member there. So, not seeing her being played in the first 2 rounds was a surprise. Of course, in the first basement attack, we saw the Monty instead. Second round, nothing really came out that was different or a pocket pick operator. Beast Coast, they're feeling very good so far on DarkZero's map.
5 seconds.
I was about to make fun of you because the Ying got picked off, but it just changed hands.
It's changed hands.
As we now have the Monty and the Ying.
They doubled down.
They have doubled down. Is it really a pocket pick now if it's 40% of your attacking lineup?
Well, so the way that the pocket pick kind of came to be was that it used to be a once-in-a-while operator.
Yeah.
But now pocket pick is more used to the sense that it's like the niche operators that you can bring out for specific attacks, but as you said, like it's such a common operator now that is it really a pocket pick?
I mean, sometimes you'll see teams hold that Ying back for maybe like a round 12
Yeah.
or a round where they need to get something quick on the board to try and tip things in their favor. But as you also mentioned, Oregon's not really a map where you can afford to do that on the attack. And it's a map that we've seen Ying become a lot more commonplace, as you mentioned, because every round is a round where you need to catch the defense off guard in some way, shape, or form. And
Every round is a round.
exactly, every round is a round.
Every round is a round.
Quite literally.
So there is one thing that I've been kind of working on, but I have yet to like kind of apply it. I've been working on a term for execution operators, like the Ying, the Cavitao, etc. And I'm like execution enablers. I had a couple different terms for it, but nothing really stuck. So pocket picks is my go-to. But
Facilitators.
I like facilitators actually, but that's like not that self-explanatory for like
It's not.
non-native speakers at least. But
Well, you know what?
Located by attack.
Canadians in sight. Hamazoo's also opened things up with a quick kill onto Mr. B. And it appears that, well, DZ aren't really trying to waste any time whatsoever. The Monty's blinded, but he doesn't really give a damn about that. He'll just sit behind his shield with the diffuser and be content to do just that. Gavini's also made his way in, and sight control is now firmly in the hands of DarkZero. Hat looking to go for a retake. As his teammate Hyper, now him and Hat the only ones left, is trapped on big tower stairs. He'll hop out, but now the attack knows his exact position. And NGR is playing close inside of security, waiting for Hat to make a rotate either up Z or into security. Bomb now going down. Hyper might be the first main player to contest this very position, but all he'll do is open the hatch, let the bomb go down. 4v2 post plant. Gavini and Canadian on low HP, but now Hat in the grave. Hyper has a vertical angle. NJR playing in security, but they know his position now that he's just opened it up with the super shorty. A very, very difficult clutch if Hyper were to make it work. The first step would be NJR, and he'll stumble at the starting line as DarkZero get their first attack.
Yeah, the issue with NGR being your first obstacle is that it's probably gonna be your last obstacle at that, because NGR, he always wins those. One thing about Oregon that is very common is that the pattern for kind of like how the rounds go is that defenders are basically guaranteed or expected at least to win that basement launcher defense. Then Kid Storms, big toss up, really a 50-50 coin flip. Then you go tertiary. Tertiary is typically where attackers will start finding success, leading to those kind of like 4-2 score lines, more often than not, or a 3-3. DarkZero, they follow that same pattern. They lose the first two, they win the tertiary, and now they're really dialed into that second rotation of the bomb site. And I say dialed in because they're really bunkering down on what operators they want to bring. Now we see again, so far, doubling down on 2 execution operators, or the facilitators, as you called it. And I'm not surprised to see if they would stick the ink, because I think for the basement attack, you would be silly not to. It is just an incredible amount of value for no real cost. You still get a great gun, and you can still go for that roam clear. Even spend a Candela or 2 there to secure your chances at the execute later in the round by getting a kill or 2 on the clear itself.
That'll be $5 for the use of facilitators, by the way, just saying.
Every single time, or just a single cost? Because like, I'll pay you $5 right now.
It's $5 per use. If you want like a month-long subscription package, it'll be about 45 or so.
What?
I'm a hustler, baby.
I am gonna have to write that off, and if, you know.
That's true. You can write that off in your taxes.
No, I was gonna
your job.
I was gonna send it to Blast in that case. Like, they're gonna write it off for me, so to speak.
Write off the use of the word facilitators on broadcast.
Yep.
I'm in a lucrative business.
And you are. You're making good stonks and achieved. Looking for the same thing with those valuable Flores drones. Always finding a lot of utility with each in single use. And speaking of value, there's the shield.
There you go.
The most important part of the entire blue hold is that 90 shield, as we call it. Now, there is one very easy counter to Flores that very few players actually do.
What is it?
You can just pick up the shield.
That's true.
It's faster animation-wise to pick up the shield even a half a second after the Flores drone goes red than to run away. Now, you can pick up the shield, run away, it blows up, put it back down. Now, of course, that only really works if nobody's nearby.
They're quick with it.
That is very quick. There's one very...
That was impressive.
That was
how quick
really
that was.
fast.
Wow.
Oh my god. Someone has been working that keyboard for...
That's a big Penguin fan in the production. Right?
Yeah. I should charge them for these facts, shouldn't I?
Ooh, that's a good point.
Yeah. You owe me $5 now, Mr. Blast.
Passive streams of income.
Yeah.
How to make it work.
Just by being here. Lovely.
Half the round now gone. Gavini sent his Gemini replicator and realized that he probably shouldn't push the bottom of freezer stairs that aggressively just yet. We often see these attacks take a little bit of time once they're in the oven. even though the hatch has not been opened yet. Still will often take a long time before this bit of map control or these angles are actually converted into something useful by the attack. We'll send Canadian down Freezer stairs to try to deal with this player, playing aggressively on bottom Freezer, but with those toxic canisters, they'll push him back in response.
Yeah, and the reason why it takes a bit of time to set up is because the attackers want to reach the bomb site with all 5 members alive for an equal 5 versus 5 brawl. So you just sacrifice the time, but Pamasu's so good on the opening duels, always wins it out. It's Vert gone for the taking, but those benches still up and alive. They're going to still help Beast Coast out for this defensive round.
These Candelas will have to do a lot of work to evade the remaining utility that Beast Coast have placed around Pillar, around the bomb site. Canadian losing HP as he pushes down Freezer. The last smoke canister from Mr. B, but still Amira looking over towards the bulk of the Freezer push. The Candelas hail Panbazoo's entry down in through E-Box, but he might not have to do the work as the rest of DarkZero seems to be getting on the board. Achieved is the first to go down, but DarkZero still hold a very narrow lead. Widened now as Panbazoo finally gets active after that E-Box drop. Canadian drops the shield and it just allows Doc to fall to Panbazoo's T95. They get a 1v4 for Hyper. Great player, great pickup, but he can't shoot through a Monty. Even his bullets are not bulletproof. And as it enters the post plant, the odds dwindle second by second. No C4 to throw over that soft wall. A player in Freezer and 3 players in the bomb site itself, and 1 more Candela to add insult to injury. DarkZero looking in a prime position to win the primary bomb site for Beast Coast, unless Hyper can clutch this 1v2, but it will remain unless, as it will not happen.
I gotta say, it is kind of unfair that you have Panbazoo and NGR on the same team sometimes, because they have so many moments, alone in this single, 2 map so far. I think they've won like 4 rounds, maybe 5 rounds individually, just individual sheer gun skill and decision making so far. Pam been around crucial, but also one thing that kind of goes unnoticed in that round is how much pressure Canadian on the Munties applying, just walking around, forcing Beast Coast to either move or stand still and then getting picked off. It's beautiful to watch, and again, Beast Coast, when things don't go their way, they start calling for those tactical timeouts and they hit the brakes.
I don't know, because I know CJ mentioned this on the desk, and he brought up a very good point. Because Achieved is one of the lowest rated players in the league. And with that in mind, NJR is looking the nastiest he's ever been. Panbazoo is looking the nastiest he's ever been. Achieved, who you normally think about playing that sledge, playing that flex position, with his addition on the roster, these players look more enabled than ever before.
Agreed.
And DarkZero looks more decisive than even back during the LMG meta at Charlotte at times, it seems.
God.
Not to make any bold predictions, but I mean, you think back then, believe you know how to cast this match with Panbazoo pushing up the long haul on Club in one basically single swing of his LMG, killing 3 different people. That's the kind of DarkZero that this is making me think of, with the ability for Panbazoo or NJR to show up at any given time, and with the addition of Achieved on this roster, even though he is performing individually some of the worst in the NAL, everyone around him seems elevated by this pickup.
I fully agree, and sometimes it takes someone to almost allow himself, in a way, a worse performance individually, but let other 2 or 3 members shine.
For the greater good.
Yeah, it can be like, you drone someone in, they shine, you don't get any credit, but your drone did so much work. Or taking up those unsexy roles, like, who wants to play Forrest and Thatcher? Well, someone's gotta do it so everyone else can do their job. Speaking of the whole phrase we have for operators, C-Dapper. C-Dapper?
C-Daps?
C-Daps? I call him C-Dapper.
I didn't know you guys were cool like that.
No, we were cool like that. Wait.
What's going on? All right, what are we doing?
Was that just Pemba tossing a Candela and then getting swung by Mr. B?
Yes, that is exactly what happened, actually.
And then, whoever's sitting behind the barrel, she's just he's waiting patiently. Oh, that sucks.
Remember when I said Achieved enables Panbazoo?
He might have baited him right there, didn't he?
Might have baited him a little bit.
That's unfortunate.
All good, it happens.
This is just our number 1. 3v5 for DarkZero. And Troy has to get the offensive now.
What the hell's going on here?
He's dead. He's dead.
Nick, this has been a weird one.
And this guy? Oh, okay, not what I thought was gonna happen. Beautiful shot.
Wow.
Gavin.
That was a stinker right there. NGR. Ooh. Nick. It's gonna. Is it happening? Is it happening? It's a minute.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
There's so much time left.
It's a minute 45. Both players have at least one drone. NJR has 2. Gavini has a replicator and nades. Is it possible?
Is the replicator, is that the gadget of Ayana?
Gemini replicator.
Okay.
Yana clone.
I've never heard somebody say Gemini replicator ever
You know,
in
I
my
just,
life.
you know,
You're cool like that.
cool like that.
I like this. A vertical EMP to disable the ADS, and then the nade follows through. That is like creative siege at its finest. No way.
All right.
2v2?
Let's hold our horses. It might have been a 2v5 turned 2v2, but surely Beast Coast aren't going to throw a lead like that. With Mr. Beast starting off with 2 kills in bunker by himself. They'll pop 1 Goyo. That's 20 seconds on the clock now. You familiar with that?
Don't say no, don't
I couldn't help myself.
So DarkZero, they only have 1 pathway right now, so Gavin's gonna rotate around for a second one. But that means that now both attackers, Vinjar and Gavin, are isolated. So Beast goes, they can strike 2v1 if they can find those members.
1 player in... Ooh, no, Mr. B around the corner. They're both holding Freezer at the moment. That might give NGR an avenue in, or Gavini an avenue in, excuse me. Final smoke canister goes out, but it misses. It chokes off the laundry rotate, but both these players can enter. NGR doesn't shoot. Let's Mr. B rotate in front of him. Duck now tucked around the corner. They can play the trade-off. NJR, he's got to cover. Gavini's putting the bomb on the floor. He's got to fall off now. Both Beast Coast will consolidate. Totem pole. Doc 1 HP, Mr. B just behind him. He peeks, but Gavini can't win the fight. Down goes 1, the pistol for the second. Run like hell, Mr. B. He can't escape in time. 2 in a row for basement on DarkZero. I can't even say the words right. I'm not flabbergasted. Nick, just shut the hell up and tell me how they threw that one.
Oh my god, I mean, I don't know if we saw the in-game chat, but DarkZero typing LMFAO in chat because they know that round should have never gone that way. I mean, the second Mr. B gets the 2 kills, he's gonna say, good job, guys, all me. We win this one. It's absolutely free. They kill Canadian. They take down the Mon team. It is almost guaranteed a defender glorious victory.
Look at him cheesing. He's smiling.
Of course he is. They literally just won a round that was unwinnable. Like, excuse me. And you know how it started? It was that disgusting pre-fire from Gavini on the Armory hallway that really set things off and set the tone for that round to come. Absurd. And that, see, this is why Oregon is loved, because it is so chaotic sometimes. This is the map where these things just happen.
You talk about how it's linear. It's almost like, because everything is so concentrated.
Exactly.
It's gonna explode eventually.
You gotta break the mold sometimes.
Exactly.
Go crazy with it. Now, going back in time, before things got really funky, C-Dapper. That's where we were, right? C-Dapper. He messaged me once, and did so again recently, and was like, he had his own phrase that he wants, I guess, me to use, or present it to us as the professionals here.
Is this
Catalyst operators speed up the chemical reaction being the attack.
the catalyzers?
Or even
Be a sick band name.
Well, we're not making a band here, Lynx. We're talking about the execution, the facilitators, the attackers that speed things up for fun.
I'm struggling to find a word that doesn't make this sound like a terrible action, like Sylvester Stallone movie.
Don't a great Sylvester Stallone movie.
Sorry, my bad. I didn't mean to be negative.
See, you were born in a time where you do not appreciate the art that was the action movies back then.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's all Marvel movies for me, unfortunately. 45 seconds in. Some early utility burn. Remember I mentioned Pambazoo on Finka. No LMG this time, but still giving me flashbacks.
Yeah, I mean, that was a scary sight, to be fair. Also, my notes are wrong because after that triple kill they got last round, I put Beast Coast as winning the round, and then they completely lost us. I gotta change that because it's 3 in a row for DC so far. Looking to get a 4-2 first half, starting attack on Oregon on the second map, which was DarkZero's map choice.
See you on the other side.
Bomb located by attackers.
Still rocking with only 1 hard breacher. Only those ex-Kairos and only being used to open up the bedroom wall as well. Very minimal take for DarkZero. Not looking to gain too much control outside of Master Bedroom, outside of Trophy. Just looking to flood in off the back of those Candelas and off the gun skill of their star players like Gavini, NJR, and Pambazoo. There's one player in back tower right now, making their way up, but Canadian is more than aware. His hat has broken open the window as he crawls upstairs. The nice thing, though, for DarkZero, Nick, hat doesn't really matter.
Watch out.
No. I mean, he's pretty much alone. Flash. What is the thought here, DC? They're gonna go Yankee Data optimizes in big window, go fast. No, maybe. Waiting for it.
Very fast transition. There go the Candelas. Here comes the flood. NGR's made his way into Attic, but no decisive lead just yet. Achieved on low HP.
Shotgun!
NGR with the shotgun out-duels Mr. B, the shotgun demon himself. Now DarkZero have an advantage, but Achieved is on low HP. It might not matter whatsoever. If he's hitting headshots like that, excellent shot from Hyper to boot just soon after. A 1v2 doesn't matter whatsoever. 4 rounds in a row for DarkZero as they end their attacking half on Oregon in the lead by 2 rounds at 4-2.
And this is what I mean when you play a map where most teams do the exact same thing, you have to get really creative to be able to change things up. And I think the round that we just witnessed is a perfect example of a linear map being executed in a pretty linear fashion, but done differently enough to be a surprising factor. It's the Ying Rappel on Kid Storm, smoking off both the attic window and big tower window, going on in, gets traded out. And then it's a shotgun Hibana running into Trophy Door, into attic, into kids, and takes out the other shotgun player of Mr. B on smoke in a close quarter combat because it's a Hibana shotgun. And then it's a beautiful trade and a dance back and forth. But DC, they come out significantly ahead in that trade, get full bomb site control and presence, and they don't even need to go for a plant. They just go for the kill in that 2v1 as Hyper went for the reload. With the new reload mechanic being changed, one bullet in the chamber, he couldn't just stop reloading and shoot back. He had a single bullet to his name, and that simply just wasn't enough. Now DC, on the 4-round win streak, they get to go into that comfortable basement laundry bomb site, and Beast Coast, to my surprise, they don't have any fun operators. No Ying, no Munty, no Amaru, no Blitz.
It's a bit worrying for Beast Coast, a team that so far has been one of those main teams to, again, run Blitz, run Monty, run Ying when she is unbanned. Maybe I understand maybe the reticence to bring the Ying. If there's a Warden on the board and NJR just happens to be the player wielding those glasses, the Candelas might not mean much in the long run if he guns you anyway. But even then, one of those Candelas might get in a good spot to help you maybe drop down E-Box or flooding through Laundry to try and get some rounds on attack after DarkZero just won 4 in a row. And they're just trying to win this with the standard Rotero drones, nades, X-Kairos, and Hyper still on that IQ. I mean, there's black eye cameras on the board. He should be able to find them, but it's still not a lot of, as you said, exciting utility to really break the mold on Oregon.
Also worth noting, NGR opting for a 3rd C4 on Warden instead of a 2nd deployable shield. So it's Panda who puts the shield down on smoke, but it's Warden to play behind it because of that gadgetry of the glasses. Cannot gets flashed or smoked in that position, and it's where you're going to be meeting that piece of utility from the attacking side most likely. Also makes sense to allow Panda to be aggressive on the front, just looking for engagements. So far, Bisco is doing that same, paying that due diligence of just, we're gonna take it slow. Don't get into fights too early. Get up, open up all those hatches. Start walking down all the staircases of Freezer, Laundry, and Big Tower. And then don't really give DarkZero any ideas to where the actual execute will be coming from, because right now, Beast Coast, they can go anywhere. Go for a back take, they can go for a front take. There's nothing really stopping them from either side, as there's no mirror being played. They just have to worry about those go-go canisters and toxic babes from the smoke.
3/5 of Beast Coast for about 5 seconds. We're at the bottom of Laundry stairs. They quickly vacate the premises, looking for a different option. Trying to get their first attack on Oregon. Doc has made his way down into bunker, and 2 players stacked around the E-Box hatch, looking to put some pressure onto that bunker door position. Flashbangs going through. They'll send it on in, but there's the Goyo. They all line up for Beast Coast. One single spray gets Mr. B 2 kills. Hat gets a 3rd as well. Beast Coast might just suffer 1 loss, but Pamazoo and Canadian still have this one. Never mind, it's very short-lived. Beast Coast get their first round on attack on Oregon as a very quick E-Box drop. All pretty much goes Beast Coast's way.
And again, I think that round showcases exactly why I think you can compare DarkZero and Beast Coast when you match them up 1-to-1. And we spoke about that on the first map of Theme Park, where both teams are known for their strategy, their adaptability on the fly, and having Mr. B on Beast Coast and Canadian on DarkZero, making the calls for the team and doing so greatly. And we see DC had a rush round on Kid Storm's attack, and then following around on the side, so after round number 6, we see Beast Coast again. There's two members of E-Box hatch off those Ibana pellets, don't even flash or grenade anything, and they just make it work out of nowhere. And it's so hard to adapt to that in the middle of the round because A, it's not supposed to happen, and B, it is absolutely unpredictable because they could drop at any moment for any or no reason at all, and when they did it, well, it was just the right time for it.
It's honestly very good to see that level of liveliness from Beast Coast without the presence of operators like Monty or Blitz or Ying, that they're still able to make those plays happen.
Absolutely.
With just some secondary flashbangs and a lot of confidence. And especially being down 4-2 on Oregon on your defensive half. Sure, it's not your map pick, but you start out on theoretically the more comfortable side.
Yeah.
They're still able to make those quick heads-up plays that take DarkZero off guard without relying on operators that historically Beast Coast have relied on, like Ying or Monty.
Yeah.
Very good sign of life.
There's always this kind of like term that I always live by, which is that you can play to win or you can play to lose. And it's very common that when you are, let's say when you're match point, you can start playing to lose in the sense that you don't act, right? Like the pressure is on, you're afraid of taking a risk and taking that first move and going for the openings, so you're quote unquote not playing to win. Because you're afraid of the fact that you might lose if you try something. And what you're kind of saying here, when you're down 2-4 as Beast Coast are, they're still willing to take these risks and these gambles where if it doesn't work out, they're close to being down to match point, you know? So they are playing to win despite being behind, and as a promising look for Beast Coast, their confidence is still there, decisions are being made, and they are trying so hard to get back to that even round score of 4-4.
First way they might deal with that might be Gavini behind that shield, but it's very spread out for Beast Coast at the moment. Though looking to trend towards this white stairs side as Mr. B over by bedroom, and Hyper was on that armory rappel. Now rotating over to Big Tower. Beast Coast looking to take this from the west part of Oregon instead of the east, at least for the early round. Some nades from below. There's 4 potential and only 1 used so far, but nothing gained by the attack just yet. But now, Nick, very quickly, they're starting to consolidate.
Yeah, this is definitely showing to be a big window Kid Storm white stairs attack. Kind of like that. Wait, is that the real deal? It is. Where's the follow-up? I mean, that is very off pace because nobody was ready for that whatsoever, Vert.
No, they even sent a C4 to follow up, thinking that there may be somebody on white stairs. There's just nobody there.
There should have been.
Mr. B and the diffuser now dropped as well. Excellent nade by Doc, but a lot of ground to recover as Beast Coast launch a very disjointed and now rapidly de-escalating execute. Only Doc on white stairs and Hat on big window. What would be 2 very important positions had the execute been properly timed. Another nade at the attic rotate, but this one not cooked whatsoever. The player in that very spot can rotate away safely as Doc walks on in. Hat's put to 1 HP, gets 1 kill. That's all he'll get. DarkZero take their first defense after Beast Coast launch a very, very disjointed execute.
The only thing I can think of to like rationally explain what happened is that Vert thought he used the Gemini clone gadget to walk up to scout for information, and then he realized he, in fact, forgot to press the button
That
first.
would be the most insane mistake I have ever.
But when you look at it, right, it actually makes perfect sense. Because he was so deep in the... He went through the gen rotate in towards trophy, just kind of looking all the corners. And then you see his teammates, they're like droning in like shower hallway. Like, and like the other members are like outside the big window on the rappel trying to get to the roof. Like, it genuinely doesn't make any sense why Vert was that much further ahead, unless A, going for an off-pace play, trying to see maybe there's a way in, maybe he already droned it and saw an opening, maybe he actually thought, you know what guys, this is clear, I can totally go for this, you guys follow me afterwards. That's also possible, of course. But something definitely happened that round that shouldn't have. Miscommunication, mistiming, etc. That's very evident.
10 seconds
Surgery bombs up for DarkZero. Things are going to be quote-unquote easier for Beast Coast for this one. At least in terms of numbers, this is the easier bomb set to attack. The thing is, DC, they got a twist on it. They're playing with a heavy, small tower hold. Frost mats, deployable shield perhaps, and Warden playing that position with ADSs. It can be very difficult to peel any member of that particular position and might force DC to just simply go elsewhere or match Pambasu, but as I said, it's not easy to clear his position whatsoever.
Remember as well that if BC lose this match, they will not be out of the running for a qualification spot. That's true. They'll have to play SSG for the final remaining spot of the playoffs. And if DarkZero win, they, of course, be the second team to qualify for the major through this playoff bracket. Meeting Hall and Kitchen might be the spot, as you said, that Beast Coast could bring this back, it being the tertiary site. But I found in my experience casting Rainbow Six, this small tower position is deceptively easy to clear.
Yeah? Wait, really?
Or sorry, deceptively difficult.
Okay, okay, thank you.
This guy always seems to survive a lot longer than you think.
Yeah, okay, thank you. That's what I had deducted as well. Because you can actually, with that hole below the window, you can see the jump in from below the dining wall. So like, if DC plays this on a lock and key, it should be almost impossible to clear Pambas without suffering a loss yourself.
And you'd again, you'd
instead.
Well, I didn't expect him to just walk in front of the window.
To be fair, I believe the Terror drone kind of forced his hand, but yeah, that was way too easy, right? Like, that was certainly not the way
Maybe it is
was supposed to happen.
deceptively easy.
Maybe it is.
Maybe you
you're
and I
right.
were wrong.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, yeah.
Hold on.
By the way, okay,
Right.
then that happens.
Well, I suppose Beast Coast have quickly found ground in this round, not just from a kill granted by Panbazoo, but now a kill taken by Hat. Showers control established for Beast Coast. And that is this room right next to dining. Doc also finding a shot on the Canadian. This might just be the path forward for Beast Coast if they can then get another win on a side after this. But we've already seen DarkZero clutch a 2v5, and it started off not with NJR, but with Gavini. But NJR still a key part of that. Achieved holding control of security. Him and the Jaeger will push up jointly. There's one player outside on the bottom of White Stairs. He'll take down half of the remaining players, and Mr. B deals with the remainder. First win, at least on one of those offsites for Beast Coast. That's great, but now they got to try and cut their teeth on a site like Basement.
Yeah, that is definitely the kicker that is about to come for them. DarkZero, again, I really didn't think the round was going to go that way, and with that result as well, DC will call their tactical timeout to kind of figure out how do we send this one home before overtime, and also rather take the timeout now than when you tie things up 5-5, because you want to end this on the half that is the defending side for DC and attack for Beast Coast, avoid OT at all costs, but by taking this timeout, you're also giving Beast Coast time to talk to their coaching staff and amongst themselves what their next steps are going to be.
It's also good because even though Basement is a site that is very comfortable for the defense, is often preferred by the defense, that was Beast Coast's only attacking win up until this past round.
Yeah.
And so going back to Basement is not nearly as sure of a thing for DarkZero as it might otherwise be in either other versions of this match, in alternate universes, or even other Oregons that we've seen played in the NAL so far. So they'll take a breather, talk about their coordination. One thing that definitely that we saw in that Basement attack, we saw 3 different players almost line up for Mr. B in that showers hall as they flooded down E-Box. So maybe being a bit more, even though it is unpredictable sometimes, maybe being a bit more aware and on guard for those very fast blitz executes from Beast Coast.
We have a stat. This isn't even a stat. It says stat, but it says, hey, Pink, what would your next step be if you were in Beast Coast's shoes right now?
Getting prompt? Is this like an improv show? We're getting prompts from the crowd?
We're getting prompts. It's like, they're talking about the wrong thing. Talk about this instead. So, if I'm Beast Coast, and like, as I say this, it actually is happening on your very screen. If I was Beast Coast, I would start bringing out those cheese operators.
Oh.
And I was gonna say the Blitz, the Muncie, the Ying.
Not the,
Oh, it's happening. I said the word.
Not the Basement Amaru.
So, I was gonna say, so Basement Amaru is a big tower control typically that assists the Blue Rush. So they might not go for the rush necessarily, but there are 4 members here, so they also might. Blitz can storm on in, Candelas can assist him, take elbow control, either slow down or keep the pace very high, then go from there. Has a shotgun, by the way. So things are gonna get very crazy very quickly, most likely in this round.
A hot run down back tower stairs, catches the mirror, scared to death inside of elbow. They line up again, but it's only 1 kill for Mr. B. A very quickly thrown toxic canister chokes off this rush, but it doesn't gain DarkZero nearly the ground they thought it might. NJR still on low HP, and it's even between these two. NJR put even lower. This 3v3 becoming an effective 3v2 if BC can land just 1 shot on the Warden. Hat will look to push on in off this Candela. With the shotgun, his options are limited to close quarters engagements. No G8. With this Candela, if he can blind his eyes, he can push on in. Doc now will send his way up elbow. Almost gets a beautiful pre-fire onto the shotgun. But in close quarters, just 1 pump can do it. Hat, you gotta be a little bit too ridiculous right now. We know you're good, but you can't style on him like that. C4 goes out. Canadian knows the Freezer player's there, but he circles the head instead of securing the kill with a very, very quick blitz play, pun intended. Beast Coast even it up.
And that is exactly what Oregon is loved for. The sheer chaos factor. Oh my god. And again, what you gotta do in these moments is catch your opponents off guard. It is shaken, Mr. B. You're ice cold. He storms in, and you know what? This is the crazy part. He gets elbow control for free. He sees 3 members, and you're thinking to yourself, he's gonna back off with the blitz, right? He ADSs. And I was thinking, he's gonna die, it's over. He actually gets 1 kill before getting checked by Pambus in the smoke through the wall with the shotgun, but still, absolute madness of a round. That is the 3rd round of the last 4 that have been absolutely wild to watch. So we can say Oregon is a dumbed-down map, we can say it's a linear map, whatever. It can also just be an outright brawl and a battle all the way through if both teams are willing to play that style of Rainbow Six Siege. And I'm so happy that both teams are doing it. So it's not just one team trying to be cool, everyone's saying you guys are trying way too hard right now.
A day of slow borders and fast Oregons. Very, very, very odd change of events, but a welcome one, especially in this case. No blitz this time, but Hat going to the Ying. What a very stylish player as we saw last round. Him taking the mantle of these Candelas once again. Should be a good sight, but Dorms was not the best attack that we saw from Beast Coast a couple rounds prior. Vert on a different page from his team, and each individual player on a different page than Vert and each other. If they're going to make good use of these Candelas, the Beast Coast will need to be a little bit more methodical. Not necessarily slow, at least a little bit tighter on the communication this round.
I was going to say tighter was going to be the word that I was going to be using, because when you play very loose, things can also easily fall apart. Like, let's go back to the last Storms attack. That seemed like a loose communication round, and things were not synced up together, and it's why DC was so successful in securing that round victory last Storms defense. But just look at the upper lineup and this mini execute right now. Things are definitely shaping up to be tight for Beast Coast. Clearing the verticality of the mute jam on the wall, getting the flourish runs, introduce a bit of damage. Nade starts flying out as well. The one thing they haven't done as of yet is, of course, Mr. B getting those 6 Kairos, but that is following up shortly after. But as that is happening, a chief from above takes on a hybrid that was downstairs below inside of the classroom.
Doesn't get scared with those impacts either. Holds both in his back pocket as only 2x Kairos used on that bedroom wall. Flores drone shot as well. DarkZero not only able to take down Hyper, but destroy some utility. Excellent refrag by Vertical. Those impacts now gone. They can use all of those X Kairos to open the bedroom wall. Candela's going through, but it's a Gemini replicator that's only following in through Trophy right now. Not Vertical.
Nope.
Do not worry.
Not this time.
Not this time. Not just yet. He will cook a nade, maybe send it on in soon after. Greatly cooked onto Gavini. Concrete player gone, but with one flanking up main stairs. They're still watching flank as Vertical's pushing into the site. If you wanted tighter communication and tighter flank watch, it's looking like a match point for Beast Coast. If they can close out a 2v1, Panba, not enough. Not enough from Panbazoo. He can get one of the quickest aces we've seen in the NAL, but it's still 6-5 Beast Coast.
What a position that Beast Coast find themselves in. All of a sudden, they are looking alive on these attacking rounds. And I really respect the fact that they are changing between the chaotic style, the structured style, and honestly, I think DarkZero, they're kind of struggling with how to match the pace because they cannot really read Beast Coast pace any longer. And now it's time to DarkZero to take that back into their control, be the ones to take charge, swing first, stop them in their tracks, or something of that caliber. They could go for any bomb site. They go downstairs again. And surprisingly enough, they don't bring the mirror. I truly thought that was gonna be happening, but no.
I think, me personally, I think the mirror would have been a good pick here. It almost basically, it doesn't force Beast Coast to do a back take, but it makes doing a front take, going down Laundry, much more difficult.
Yeah.
Even though they've been running these X Kairos a lot, maybe they run a secondary hard breach, save the X Kairos for the mirrors, whatever. If that happens, it's a little bit more difficult, but now Beast Coast have a lot more options open to them. They'll bring the Ying again. Hat 14-7 will not be the one wielding these Candelas. It'll be, never mind. Hyper switched off the Nomad, baited me right there. Do not worry, because we might not have the Ying.
We have the Monty though. Yep.
Operator Roulette.
Let me see. Okay, so Monty and Nomad speaks to a limited attack where you kind of just take a small portion of the map, you lock down the flank possibilities, and have as many guns in the same direction as possible, which is exactly how you want to attack basement, because that's often how it happens. Defenders, they know where you're coming from. You have 3-4 guns looking your way, so as an attacking crew, you want to match those guns in terms of numbers, looking right back at them. With their floor assurance as well from Doc, if he can remove the shield, I think that gets it.
Ooh.
Yep. Now, fun fact, NGR could have picked up the shield and saved the shield right there.
That's true.
If it was his, because they do have 2 shields in defense. There's the Gavin shield from Warden and NGR's on Smoke, but that should have been Smoke shield now because Smoke is playing there. You could have picked up the shield, run back, put it back down. Just saying. Just saying.
Just saying.
I think it's underrated to do that. It's a small little tip there. Canadian, he's past enemy lines here. There's a guy above him.
There is one down below as well.
He is in tier 3, right? I think I saw him in the...
He might still be cut off. Pambazu able to cut down the Monty alone, entering big tower.
There he is.
There he is.
No!
Oh, what a shot by Troy! Cuts the head off Doc on T3. Might just stop Beast Coast's chances at a regulation victory. Hat's looking to make the most of this very quick shift of fortune. Diffuser recovered by the attack. But now Vertical, and now with the moment gone, Hat as well. Maybe back off for the time being and reset. Ooh, there's one. Gavini getting aggressive. Another one inside long haul, but he doesn't take the fight with Hat. A smart decision as DarkZero reset.
Yeah, and you still got Canadian on the roam, so if you're DarkZero, you don't gotta swing out on side whatsoever. Just play down the clock, make Canadian a factor in the round, late for that flank. Later in the later stage of the round, just play off these deployable shields. Hat has 15 kills to his name. Of course, still looking for more. A minute to go on the clock, and DC, they're just waiting for the first move.
Still 2 nades from Vertical on a powerful angle by Hat. They know somebody's front, though. Hat killed somebody earlier, and Hyper's launched some shots as well. Vertical now the only one in Freezer, but nobody in Laundry. The Warden normally in that position, not there. Hat will make his way in. One just around the corner, not looking at the rotate. Hat's got the right idea. There's one more in elbow. The long angle might do it, but the smoke escapes for just the time being. They've made their way into Laundry, though. They can cover this plant for Hyper and move into a post-plant situation, especially with Vertical and Freezer. To cut off these remaining angles, but you can't count Canadian out on 1 HP. He's still fragging with the best of them to get 19 kills. Hat would seal this out in regulation. Canadian so low, so tantalizingly low. Just one bullet, Hat is all he needs for the ace to close it out. He'll walk up the stairs. The right play, bait the time for NJR, but with the shotgun, he stops up behind him and downs him.
No!
He takes it down, sends DZ to overtime. Qualification and the 2-0 still in DarkZero's hands.
What a heartbreaking way for the Clutch to go. The 19 kills. The A's had a young player, not with the most experience, but he played that with so much confidence. Knew he could isolate the 1 versus 1. He did just that. It was just down to one more member. But in the midst of the chaos, he makes a decision a little bit too late. He doesn't get past the corner, and he gets shut down the moment he turns his back to his opponent. 6-6. Beast Coast, they're still in it, but now it is a little bit more difficult as they gotta fight even longer to try and take to that 3rd map of Skyscraper. Yeah, he knows right there. He bottled what could have been the 2nd map, but this is now where the mentality comes into play. Timeouts taken by both teams. That's not gonna be a factor. Now it's about, can you keep yourself calm when things are not going your way? Because if you are Beast Coast right now, let's turn the clock back 5 or 6 rounds. It was a 4-2 lead for DarkZero. Beast Coast were not supposed to win that game based off those numbers. Then, BC, they fought so hard on the attacking side, winning the following 4 rounds out of 5. 3 of those in a row. Getting the plant down 2 of those 4-round victories. Then they bring it all the way back. And then the 1 round where things don't go their way, where they don't win that 1 versus 1 clutch, that's the thing that takes them to overtime. It's easy for someone like Hat to say, that is on me, I suck, I couldn't understand the game, etc. But remember, Beast Coast have clutched their way just to get here in the first place. You cannot count yourself out just because that single moment didn't go your way. But this is also the point where DarkZero, they have so much more experience. I mean, if you have Canadian on your team, because this is a fun fact. Canadian has won a lot of tournaments, right? I think he has lost the most amount of big matches of any player in the game. Grand finals, semifinals. If anyone knows how to take a loss, to be down bad, to mentally recover, it is Shark Canadian. Because he comes back with 3 different rosters to win major events, invitationals, with different players every single time.
And that's not a situation Beast Coast have been in just yet.
Never.
This is quite literally for Mr. B, Hat, and Doc, the biggest match of their career so far. To qualify for a major in Mr. B and Hat's first stage of Pro League, Doc's second. This would be a monumental achievement, especially given Doc previously being on a middling Parabellum roster. This would be a very rapid climb to the upper echelons of the North America League to start out 2023. But we're not there just yet. At least one round before we get to match point. East Coast just losing on basement will have to recover that mental, and this will be the litmus test. Can they make the recovery? Can they still conduct a clean round?
I will say one thing that might benefit Beast Coast, that they are going to be staying on the attacking side, which it can be hard to go 6 rounds in attack and then figure out how to play defense again. It sounds silly, but it's true. So they can stay on this side with momentum. Oh, for a short second there again, I thought it was the real deal. It wasn't. So I think that favors them well. Like, they can keep the same pace, the same philosophies and ideas, but DC, they have read into this as well. They're bringing the mirror. Like you and I mentioned, they didn't do it last time they defended this bomb site. This time they changed that up. That could also be one of those moments where Beast Coast, they have to make an adapt on the fly. They have not yet faced this caliber.
Flashbangs going in, only one Candela, but none to follow that one. Vertical put to low HP, but still the first kill. NJR with the shotgun, not the MPX. Doesn't get the second kill, it's still a 4v2. Only Mr. B and Vertical on such low HP. Achieved is ripe for the taking. But both these players on Beast Coast have to risk death if they take an engagement. Achieved has been spotted, but he's got that Goya behind him. He exposes himself, and now it's even. But the health strongly favors DarkZero by a wide margin, by a country mile. Final C4 goes out, but it doesn't find anything. Beast Coast have an avenue in, but DarkZero can take some shots. BC cannot. Vertical will cover. He'll watch the rotate in the long haul. He's got one. The bomb can go down. There he is! The assistance of the veteran to recover where the new blood has fallen in this round. He covers Mr. B, and BC are back on the point.
Yeah, and again, you gotta go back now and say, yes, Hat, we know you didn't clutch out the round, but it's not over just yet. You have another shot and another one after that. This time it was worth to seal the deal with Mr. B, and there was full trust in the plan, in the cover, in the 2 versus 2. That was technically a 2v1, because remember, has to work that diffuser case. And now Beast Coast, they are back in a round lead for the first time since round number 2 of this match in Oregon, where DC, they stole the shift around number 3, building that 4-2 score in the first half. We're in overtime, and this again, it's almost do or die. Beast Coast, they can lose this round, and they get their final attacking attempt, but there's also this fatigue we gotta stop talking about. This is a best of 3. This Oregon is going all the way, very likely. And Beast Coast do not have the same amount of experience. They have never played a best of 3 with this roster until they're here today, right?
Yep.
So they don't really have this best of 3 concept in mind, besides, of course, practice, scrims. But it is a lot easier and a lot less stressful, rather, to play a scrim. You're just playing to practice, you know, you're doing the same thing day in and day out. This right here, you're fighting for the major, to stay alive in this, to go 3rd map. So you also have to pace yourself correctly and say, okay, if we go Skyscraper, we gotta keep some energy left in the tank, because that could also go the distance. Hat's looking to break 20.
I was about to say, Hat is putting in a performance that hopefully doesn't burn himself out by map 3.
Yeah.
19-9 so far. Moving to the defense, been an attacker side of the Oregon so far. 4-2, if I'm correct. Each half for both these teams. So Beast Coast on the disadvantaged side by a strange twist of fate. Ying and Monty present for DarkZero. The 2 operators that have been back and forth, maybe one, maybe the other, both, neither, but always a talking point. In every round, they are both in and absent from. Pambazoo has also been effective, the best player for DarkZero so far in this map. There's nothing for Beast Coast on this middle floor. No presence, some reinforcements, but it's all map control free for DarkZero. But that doesn't mean we'll see a very quick attack, Nick. That means even for maybe another minute, DarkZero will spend some time.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is What's really fun about watching overtime rounds is that typically you see what is happening right now. There is zero roaming presence, yet DarkZero are not taking a single peek or a single race. They are all 3-4 members on drones for half the round to ensure that no one is creeping around. And this is the factor of overtime. The pressure is so high. And the thing about this basement defense, especially like with Mirror, Ying, and Monty, it's gonna come down to an absolute bloodbath of a 5 versus 5 in the last 20 or 30 seconds of the round, and that's going to decide whether we go all 15 or if Beast Coast just takes that third map to Skyscraper, and we're only 40 seconds away from the beginning of the end.
Minute left. What do we have?
Oh, missed timing.
A mistiming that in moments like this could cost you. But those two can openers, that's why you bring backups.
Yep.
That's why you don't just rely on a one and done. One more for Panmazoo as well. Can he? Ooh, no, the second EMP. Good play, good coordination by DarkZero. But it's still 40 seconds left. Still low on time. Canadian, the first one to plant his feet on this bottom floor in front of the mirror, breaks it. The power of that Monty, no angle available to vertical. He can look at the Monty, but the next player might catch him completely off guard. He'll pop it to get that next angle. Now the Candelas go out. Pamba starts it off on a good note, and DZ maintain their lead. They'll reset for just a few quick seconds, but that gives Hat some time to get back in the fray. The Monty with his shield up. This makes it effectively only 2 guns alive for DarkZero, but still 2 Candelas. Only 1 remaining as the third hits the floor. 7 seconds left. Panmazoo with that Candela, only Gavini with the gun up, but he's still getting those kills. Vertical gone on red, Hyper gone uncountered. Map 3 for Beast Coast. They ride the wave to the decider.
Incredible performance from them time and time again, but energy has to be high for this last map.